Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I've been approached by the team over at Dehancer to review their film emulation product. Now this is a plugin for stills and for video. I've got it plugged in today to Final Cut Pro and to Adobe Photoshop, but it also plugs into DaVinci Resolve and Lightroom and many other products. To the crew over at Dehancer, to their credit, they did ask me to do an honest review, something that's not all that common these days. And I will mention that in return, Dehancer has offered me a license for this product and a coupon code for you guys so you can get a discount, which is in the description below. I think this plugin is something that has obviously been done before many times by other companies, but the team at Dehancer have done quite a good job. It's quite user-friendly. There's a lot of information online on their website. I had no problems installing it both in Photoshop and in Final Cut Pro. If we look at the plugin, it's basically one of those plugins that is very popular now and has been for a few years now. And if you are a photographer or a videographer, chances are you're using one of the new cameras out there. You know, you're using a camera that takes incredibly sharp footage or incredibly sharp photography, stills. In my case, I'm using a 50 meg stills camera for my portrait work, and what you can do with that, which is quite funny to me, you can basically take an incredibly sharp image and then dumb it down to make it look like a 1970s or 1980s film stock. Now that surprises me that people do that, but it is a trend. I don't do a lot of it myself. I have done some examples here for this review, but it's not something I personally do myself. So this is not a product I would probably use in my work, but it is very popular with other creators. So let's have a look what it can do. So I've got some test footage here that I've downloaded from the internet, and what I've done is made an adjustment layer. I really like how the team have made it work with adjustment layers. So if you don't know what adjustment layers are, basically it's a product made in Apple Motion. Then you can drag it across to a folder so it loads up in Final Cut Pro. And then what you can do is drag an adjustment layer across all of your timeline so that you can just input this one effect from the effects panel straight into the adjustment layer, and it ripples through your entire timeline. Now that works really well, because if I was to just drop the plugin or the effect into this particular clip and then tweak it how I want, what it's going to do is affect that one clip. Now when I go to the next clip and do the same thing, I've got to basically copy and paste all those effects or go through them one by one. But if you're using an adjustment layer, you just drop the effect straight into the adjustment layer and it ripples through the entire timeline. So that's a great way to save time and effort when creating video clips. But enough about that. Let's have a look what it looks like in video. If we toggle onto the adjustment layer, I can basically de-enable or turn off Dehancer Light. I'm using Dehancer Light version 7 here. And you can see what the clip looked like before. The clip's been well exposed by the videographer who took this clip. This is a stock clip. Now if we add our plugin on the top, what it does is it sort of lowers the contrast, which you would expect from this kind of plugin, and it puts grain on top. Now you can go into the settings and you can adjust what kind of film stock you use. These film stocks, by the way, are downloadable, so when you load up the plugin, you'll click an option to download your film stocks and your camera profiles, and they'll load straight into Final Cut Pro. So if we look at this film stock here, it's more contrasty. You can go in and adjust what you want to do with that. You can do push and pull, to make it more crunchy, to make the effect less. Okay, you can do tint. You can do defringe. You can adjust the bloom. They've basically got everything that I was looking for in my options. There's nothing that they have left out in the options. It works pretty well. Let's have a look how it looks in stills work. So if we go across to Adobe Photoshop, what I've chosen to do is take one of my images here, and this is what the image looked like before, and then I've just made the image into a smart layer. So then when you drop in your plugin here, you can just go back and click on that plugin and get excuse me, get access to all the settings that you've done. If you don't do that, of course, working with Photoshop, you're not going to be able to go back and adjust your plugin settings because it's not a smart layer. So make sure you use smart layers when you do this. It does make the file size a bit larger, but it's well worth it if you want to come back and re-edit. So here's the dialog window that pops up. You can go in and do things like exposure, temperature, tint, and so forth. I tend to do that outside in Photoshop, but I do like the way that you can come in here and basically use Dehancer to put in your film stock, to put in your scratches, into if you want to put scratches, which I've done here. This is sort of reminded me of the 1970s photos that I've still got lying around from when I was using my film camera as a kid. So you can adjust the film stock, the print stock. The print stock is basically like adjusting the finish, the glossiness of it. Okay, you can adjust the size of the grain, the amount of the grain. You can go in and adjust the scratches, the damage to the film damage. So if we take that right down, you can turn off the dust. It's really quite a fun product to play with. What you can do now in Photoshop, once you've got your plugin dialed in the way you like it, you can go back and adjust the opacity. Click this little icon here. That brings up this dialog box, and then you can drop down the opacity of that smart filter to be just the amount that you want. This product is primarily marketed to videographers, but I find that it works well for photography as well, particularly in Lightroom and Photoshop. It is similar to other products that I've used in the past, including the native film options in Lightroom. But what they've done is they've made it really user-friendly across multiple platforms, which is very, very handy. If you happen to jump from one platform to another, you can get used to using this product across your stills and your video. This product does come with an iOS app, so if you're someone that likes to work on your mobile device, you can use this in its own app. The website's easy to use. There's a huge glossary online. It's in really easy to understand English, which I think this is based out of Dubai, but I'm not sure. But I think they've done really, really well. So it's very, very easy to understand. Any question that you have, there is both a glossary and videos for every step. So for example, I was loading it into Final Cut Pro. I had a couple of questions. I jumped online and there was a video sitting right there that cleared up my questions straight away, which is really good, really well thought out. They have PDF manuals online which take you through the installation and the setup. But again, it's really straightforward. Just download, double click, follow the steps, and it drops into your platform straight away. In the online glossary section, you can go through all the options that you have here. For example, bloom, I was interested in what that was, and it basically targets the edges and the highlights of the image, or the contrasting areas on the boundaries of the image, which you can see there. And that's a really cool feature. I think I'll have a bit of a play around with bloom in the future. It just gives a nice 1970s feel to images. And here we go with film damage. This is what I was talking about before. Again, dust and scratches, film noise. The noise here is really nice. It's not sort of, it doesn't look too artificial. It looks nice and analog, nice and authentic. You can go ahead and look at their website and look at their YouTube videos, and they've got a bunch of sample videos up there, which yeah, the product looks really good. If you're into that look, if you're into that low contrast sort of retro look, yeah, this is a product you should look into. So I'll keep that short and sweet, guys. That's all there is to it for today. There's a link in the description. Click on the link, download it, have a play around, and I think you'll get a lot out of this software.